Hello and welcome to this week's video. My name is Anuska Taylor. So great to have you here. And before I get going, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I really appreciate it. And more importantly, it makes such a difference in getting my videos out to more people. So if you have been following my videos over the last 2 weeks, you will know I've been talking about using your voice to elevate your career and the power of your voice in terms of making a bigger impact in your career. And the first video I talked about increasing confidence, and specifically I was referring to that around voice confidence, which is huge for most people. A lot of the reason people struggle with public speaking is they don't trust their voice. And then last week I talked about being able to talk persuasively. And again, all of this comes from a really strong, powerful, free, expressive voice. And for most people, it's something that they need coaching around because it's not something we're taught. We're taught how to pronounce words. We're not taught how to use this incredible instrument and indeed how it really works. So regardless of your accent, this work is always for you. And actually, particularly for today's video, which is all about coherence, speaking coherently. And for me, that means clarity and intelligibility. And I firmly believe that any accent can be clear. It doesn't matter where you're from in the world. In the UK here, we have lots and lots of very, very distinct accents. They can all find clarity. But you probably are going to need some training because it's not something that we're taught. So just very briefly, what I'm talking about here specifically is intentional articulation. That is the key to coherence, to clarity, and intelligibility, regardless of accent. And there's many components to this, but one of the key components is how engaged are your articulators? Are they actually functioning fully? Are they actually moving? So your jaw would be one, your lips would be one, your tongue would be one. I mean, these are the main ones. And a lot of people I work with that struggle with clarity and intelligibility are normally either not moving their jaw or they're holding a lot of tension in their jaw. There's a lot of clenching in their jaw. Their lips don't really move, or their tongue is just incredibly tight and doesn't move freely enough. We need all three to be functioning together in order to have intentional, clear, powerful articulation. So that's really what I'm talking about here. So regardless of your accent, you can find clarity. And I would argue that if you're really serious about elevating your business or career, then you really want to increase your ability to be understood by everyone. So there's no point if only people in your town or your village or your community understand you because your accent is so strong. For example, it's not just about accent actually, but I'm using this as an example because then you're really alienating everyone else. So this is about really allowing more people into your world because they can understand you, but that doesn't mean you have to get rid of your accent. So there's lots of reasons for this, but I just want to share that if you want to do this enough, you can absolutely change this regardless of your accent. So I want to share today 5 reasons why being able to speak coherently is so critical if you are serious about your career and your business really taking off, because it's absolutely essential that you can be understood. So the first one, which I've kind of just mentioned, is around being understood. And this is on the broadest sense possible. If you're a coach or a trainer or a public speaker or a leader, you want your message to get across. You want people to understand you. We don't want to have to work very hard to understand people. We get very frustrated if we have to really sit there and really listen to what someone is saying because they're talking really fast, they're mumbling, there's no clarity in their voice. No one wants to have to work that hard to understand you. So you want to be as clear as possible so you can get your message across in the easiest possible way and give your audience space to really absorb your words as well. So it's not just around articulation, but it's also around pace. Do you give people the space to absorb your words, or are you just rushing on to the next point? So it's a kind of combination of the two. So that's the first one. being able to get your message across in a very clear way, whether your message is as a CEO of a company, or you're a public speaker on a TEDx stage, or you're doing a video, or you're on a podcast, or you're in an interview. You can literally fill in the blank. So number 2 is avoiding misunderstanding and misinterpretation. And sort of piggybacking off number 1, really, really important that there's no mistake in your message. There's no mistake in what you're saying. It's absolutely crystal clear. And the brain is very clever. If we don't fully understand something, or things are kind of missing, we will fill in the blanks ourselves. We'll be making some assumptions and judgments about things. If we can't fully understand what someone is saying, we'll kind of guess maybe what we thought they might have said. We might have got a little bit of a word or a little bit of another word, and we'd be like, okay, 2 + 2 = 6. So you want it to be absolutely crystal clear, that there's no mistake what you're saying. Number 3, and I think this probably runs through everything, to be honest, is it projects confidence and professionalism. So you being able to speak coherently really enhances your credibility as a leader, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, in whatever field you are. We pay more attention to people that have that assertiveness, that confidence, that clarity in their voice. If someone is mumbling and talking quickly or slurring their speech, we don't really take them as seriously, because we're not really fully engaged in what they're saying. Which actually leads me on to number 4, which is engagement. Because, as I said, we don't want to have to work very hard to understand anyone. None of us do. I don't, you don't. We don't want to have to sit there. There's just too much going on in our worlds. We're bombarded with communication. If we have to sit there and really listen to work out what someone's saying, we're going to switch off. So it's really important that you can get your message across really clearly and coherently, so that you maintain that engagement. So you're not dragging things out. So it's just very, very clear, very, very easy for people to understand what you're saying. And then your voice is far more engaging and compelling to listen to, versus if it's just very mumbled. So number 5 is language barrier. And given the world that we live in now, particularly if we run businesses, we're dealing with people all around the world, all corners of the globe, and we're so well connected, and it's incredible from that perspective. So we're often dealing then with people where English is a second language, so maybe they don't have the full understanding of the language. So we really do need to speak clearly so they can follow us. Or, like myself, you might speak a little bit of another language, and so maybe your language skills aren't that great. So you want to make sure that you can speak clearly in a foreign language so that people can understand you. And this is becoming more and more important, because we're doing business with people all over the world. And even in my own small business, I work with clients from all parts of the globe, and I work with a lot of people where English is a second language. So although I work with them in English, I know they can apply this in their own native language, because essentially it doesn't matter what language you speak, what culture you're from, what gender you are, the voice functions the same. It just might be a little bit of a bigger instrument if you're an adult male, but essentially it functions the same. So it's very transferable regardless of language. So important to be able to speak clearly, whether we're speaking in a foreign language or we are speaking in English to people that maybe English is a second language. So I hope that's given you some ideas to see how incredibly important your voice is in your business or career, particularly nowadays, because we're doing so much online. And as I say, because we're so connected to all different parts of the world, and we want to be able to communicate clearly, succinctly, easily, and with that intelligibility, so that people don't have to work really, really hard to understand us. So check out the other videos if you haven't already, and I've got 2 more videos in this series to come. If you are interested in voice coaching, private voice coaching, please schedule a 30-minute voice discovery call. The link is below. I say this to people all the time when they email me. with the voice, I have to be able to see you and hear you to be able to give you the best advice and support and help that I can. So just sending me an email is not going to cut it. I need to be able to see you and hear you. And so as part of the voice discovery call, I will give you some feedback and some really incredibly valuable insight into your voice, as well as sharing with you how I can support you. But primarily it's a call to really open your mind to the possibilities in your voice and what you are really, really capable of. So schedule a call if you are looking to go to the next level in your business or career. I would love to help you and show you what's possible with your voice, regardless of your accent and regardless of whether English is your first or second language. So thank you so much, and I will see you next week.